I thought I knew my own son. I thought 32 years of raising him meant something. I was wrong. The first time Marcus said it, we were standing in my kitchen. February wind rattled the windows of my house in Portland, the house I'd bought with my late wife Sarah 40 years ago, the house where Marcus grew up, the house that now had a basement apartment I rented out to help cover property taxes on my fixed income. Dad, we need to talk about your tenant. I was making coffee. My hands weren't as steady as they used to be, and I had to concentrate on not spilling the grounds. Mr. Chen? What about him? Marcus exchanged a look with Vanessa, his girlfriend of 8 months. She was perched on one of my kitchen stools, her designer handbag probably worth more than my monthly Social Security check. Dad, Marcus said slowly, like I was a child. He's dangerous. I set down the coffee scoop. Dangerous? Walter Chen? The man who brings me soup when I have a cold? You don't know him like we do, Vanessa said. Her voice had that tone, the one that made my spine stiffen. We've been watching him. The way he comes and goes at odd hours. The packages he receives. Marcus ran his background. Dad, did you know he was arrested 20 years ago? For what? Does it matter? Marcus snapped. The point is, you're 73 years old, living alone in this house with a stranger in your basement. It's not safe. I poured my coffee, taking my time. Walter Chen had lived in my basement apartment for 14 months. He was 68, a retired engineer, originally from Taiwan. He paid his rent on time. He kept to himself. And yes, he'd told me about his arrest when he first applied to rent from me. A protest at a city council meeting about housing discrimination. Charges were dropped. I appreciate your concern, I said carefully, but Walter's been a model tenant. Dad. Marcus's voice hardened. We're serious about this. Either you evict him, or... He paused. Or we'll have to take other measures. What measures? Let's just say Vanessa knows people. People who can make sure he leaves. For your own safety. Of course. That was the first warning sign. I just didn't recognize it yet. The second time Marcus brought it up was 3 weeks later, at Sunday dinner. I'd cooked pot roast, Sarah's old recipe. Vanessa picked at her food like it might poison her. Have you thought more about the tenant situation? Marcus asked, cutting his meat with aggressive precision. There is no situation, son. Dad, we found something. Vanessa pulled out her phone. Look at this. She showed me photos, blurry shots of Walter entering and leaving my house, walking to his car, carrying groceries, normal activities made to look sinister through her lens. Vanessa's been documenting his movements, Marcus explained. We're building a case. A case? For what? For when we need to get a restraining order. Or call the police. Or, he glanced at Vanessa. Or, take more direct action. My pot roast suddenly tasted like ashes. I think you both should leave. They left. But not before Marcus said, We're just trying to protect you, Dad. Why can't you see that? I didn't sleep that night. I kept replaying the conversation, the way Marcus's eyes had gone cold when I refused to evict Walter, the way Vanessa had smiled when she mentioned direct action. The third incident happened on a Tuesday morning in March. I came home from my doctor's appointment to find Marcus and Vanessa in my backyard, talking to a contractor. What's going on here? Marcus turned, startled. Dad, you're home early. That didn't answer my question. The contractor, a burly man named Steve, looked uncomfortable. He handed me an estimate sheet. $20,000 for a separate entrance to the basement apartment. Walls, locks, essentially sealing off Walter's living space from the rest of my house. We're improving your safety, Vanessa said smoothly. Marcus is paying for it. Of course. I don't want this. Dad, be reasonable, Marcus said. If you won't evict him, at least let us make the house secure. He'll be completely separate from your living area. You'll barely know he's there. I said no. We already signed the contract, Vanessa said. Work starts next week. On my property? Without my permission? My voice rose. Get out. Both of you. Now. They left, but I heard Vanessa mutter to Marcus as they walked away. He's losing it. This is exactly what we were afraid of. That night, I knocked on Walter's door. He answered in his reading glasses, a book in hand. Mr. Thompson? Is everything all right? Walter, I need to ask you something. Have my son or his girlfriend approached you directly? Said anything to you? His expression shifted. I didn't want to trouble you. But, yes. Last week, the young woman, she knocked on my door, said she was concerned about my intentions toward you, asked me invasive questions about my finances, my family. When I asked her to leave, she said, he hesitated. She said I should find another place to live before things got complicated. My blood ran cold. Why didn't you tell me? You've been kind to me, Mr. Thompson. I didn't want to cause problems between you and your family. I thought perhaps, if I stayed quiet, they would lose interest. But they didn't lose interest. They escalated. I started noticing things. My mail went missing twice. Bills I should have received. Then, my internet stopped working. The company said my account had been canceled. By phone. By someone claiming to be me. When I called Marcus to complain, he sighed. Dad, these are signs. You're forgetting things. Maybe it's time we talked about you living alone. Vanessa's mother had dementia, and it started exactly like this. I didn't cancel my internet. Are you sure? Maybe you don't remember. Look, we've been researching memory care facilities. Really nice places. Let me send you some brochures. Look, I hung up on him. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about the conversation, about the mail, about the internet, about the way Marcus had so quickly jumped to dementia, about how convenient it would be if everyone thought I was losing my mind, about how much my house was worth. $2 million, at least, in Portland's current market. No. I couldn't let myself think that way. Marcus was my son. He was concerned, overprotective maybe, but not. The breaking point came on a rainy Friday in April. I came home from my weekly card game with friends to find police cars in my driveway. 2 officers stood on my porch with Marcus and Vanessa. Walter sat in the back of one of the police cars. What happened? I demanded, pushing past Marcus. Dad. Thank God you're here, Marcus said. We came by to drop off groceries and found him in your house, in your kitchen. He'd somehow gotten through the basement door. One of the officers, a young woman named Officer Martinez, turned to me. Of course I do. He's my tenant. He has every right to be in the kitchen. We share laundry facilities down there. That's not what your son told us, the other officer said. He reported an intruder. Then my son lied to you. Marcus's face flushed. Dad, we found him going through your papers, your financial documents. We caught him red-handed. That's not true. Walter called from the police car. Mr. Thompson asked me to help him organize his tax receipts, which was true. I had. Just 2 days ago. Officer Martinez looked between us all. Sir, does your tenant have written permission to be in your main living area? He doesn't need permission. It's my house. Dad, please, Marcus said, his voice taking on that patronizing tone again. You're confused. You probably did ask him to help with taxes and forgot. That's why we're worried. Vanessa, show them. Vanessa pulled out her phone. She showed the officers a video. In it, I was standing in my kitchen, looking disoriented. Where did I put those papers? I was saying. I just had them. Walter, did you see my tax papers? It looked bad. I looked confused, forgetful. But I remembered that day. I'd just woken up from a nap, was a bit groggy. The video was taken from outside my kitchen window. They'd been filming me, in my own home. You've been recording me? I asked quietly. Documenting, Vanessa corrected. For your own protection. We have dozens of videos. Mr. Thompson, you, repeating yourself, forgetting conversations. It's clear. You need help. The officers looked uncomfortable. Sir, Officer Martinez said gently, is there someone else we can call? Another family member? I don't have anyone else. My wife died 6 years ago. Marcus is my only child. Dad, Marcus said, just let them take him down to the station. Get his statement. Make sure everything's okay. We'll sort this all out. They did take Walter to the station for questioning because a concerned son reported suspicious activity, and because I, a 73-year-old widower, appeared confused in a conveniently timed video. After they left, I sat in my kitchen. Marcus and Vanessa sat across from me. Dad, Marcus said softly, we need to be realistic. You're getting older. The house is too much for you. And having a stranger in your basement, access to all your personal information, it's dangerous. What if he's planning something? What if he's been slowly taking advantage of you, and you don't even realize it? Walter isn't taking advantage of me. How would you know? Vanessa asked. Has he been helping you with your finances? Your taxes? Access to your bank accounts? He helps me organize papers. I write my own checks. Do you? She tilted her head. When was the last time you balanced your checkbook? I couldn't remember. Not because I was forgetting, but because I used online banking mostly. But I couldn't explain that, not with them looking at me like I was a confused old man who couldn't manage his own affairs. We've been talking, Marcus said, and we think it's time. There's a beautiful assisted living community in Lake Oswego. I can put the house on the market. And, no, Dad, this is my house. Sarah and I bought it together. It's all I have left of her. You'd have the memories, Vanessa said. But memories don't require a $2 million property tax burden. Think of what you could do with that money. A nice assisted living apartment, round-the-clock care, activities, friends your own age. Get out of my house. They left. But I heard Marcus say to Vanessa as they reached their car, we need to move faster. He's getting agitated. That's another sign. I stood at my window and watched them drive away. And that's when I saw it. The for sale sign. In my yard. Already up. My hands started shaking. Not from age. From rage. I called the real estate company. They said Marcus Thompson had contacted them. He'd told them he had power of attorney. He'd provided documents. They'd be listing the house tomorrow. I never gave my son power of attorney, I said. Long pause. Sir, we have signed documents. Then they're forgeries. Take down that sign. Now, I called my lawyer next. James Patterson had handled Sarah's estate. James, I need you to check something. Does my son have power of attorney over my affairs? Not according to my records. Want me to look into it? Yes. And James? I think my son might be trying to have me declared incompetent. Silence. Then, that's a serious accusation, Robert. I know. But I think I'm being set up. That night, I did something I'd never thought I'd do. I went to an electronics store and bought a recording device. A small one. Voice-activated. I set it up in my kitchen, hidden in my fruit bowl. I also called Walter after the police released him. I'm sorry, I told him. I'm so sorry they dragged you into this. It's all right, Mr. Thompson. I understand family complications. Walter, I need to ask you something. If you've noticed anything strange, anything at all, about Marcus or Vanessa, will you tell me? He was quiet for a moment. There is one thing. 2 weeks ago, I saw your son's girlfriend in the basement. Near the water heater. I thought perhaps she was checking something for you, but when she saw me, she left quickly, very quickly. The water heater. I went down to check it that night. At first, I didn't see anything wrong, but then I noticed it. The temperature setting had been turned up, dangerously high. Hot enough to scald. Hot enough that if I'd used the shower without checking, my hands trembled as I turned it back down. This wasn't overprotectiveness anymore. This was something else entirely. The next day, Marcus and Vanessa came by again, unannounced. Dad, we need to talk about last night, Marcus said. You called the real estate company. You upset them. You made wild accusations. I never gave you power of attorney. Dad. He pulled out papers. Official-looking documents. You signed these 6 months ago. Don't you remember? We had them drawn up after you had that fall. You were worried about being prepared. I studied the signature. It looked like mine. But I'd never seen these documents before in my life. Those are forgeries, I said quietly. Dad. Please, Vanessa said. This is exactly what we've been talking about. The memory issues. The paranoia. You need help. Get out. We can't leave you like this, Marcus said. We've scheduled an appointment with a neurologist, Dr. Chen at Providence. Tuesday at 2, we'll drive you. I'm not going. Then we'll have to pursue other options. Vanessa's been documenting everything. The forgetfulness. The aggression. The paranoia. We have evidence that you're not capable of living independently anymore. After they left, I played back the recording. I had it all. Their threats. Their manipulation. Their lies. I called James. I need to see you. Tomorrow. And I need to file a police report. But James had disturbing news. Robert. I checked the county records. Someone filed documents last week, attempting to initiate guardianship proceedings, claiming you're mentally incompetent. Marcus, the hearing is scheduled for next month. And Robert, they have a doctor's statement, claiming you showed signs of dementia during a recent visit. What doctor? I haven't seen anyone. Dr. Richard Vanessa Mitchell. Vanessa Mitchell. Vanessa's last name was Mitchell. Is this doctor related to my son's girlfriend? Her uncle. And according to his statement, you visited his office 3 weeks ago. You were confused, aggressive, couldn't remember why you were there. James, I was never in his office. I believe you. But this is serious. If they get guardianship, they can force you into a facility. They can sell your house. They can control everything. That's when I knew. This wasn't just about concern. This was a con. A long, calculated con to take my house, my assets, everything. And they'd been laying the groundwork for months. The canceled internet. The missing mail. The videos of me looking confused. The doctor's false statement. The forged power of attorney. All of it building a case that I was incompetent. And once they had guardianship, once I was locked in some facility, medicated and isolated, who would stop them from doing whatever they wanted? James, I said, I need you to help me fight this, and I need to gather evidence, real evidence. Over the next 2 weeks, I became a different person. I documented everything. Times, dates, conversations. I had the power of attorney documents examined by a forensic specialist. Forgeries. I got my own medical evaluation, fully competent, and I kept recording. The breakthrough came on a Wednesday night. Marcus and Vanessa didn't know I was home. I'd parked my car 2 blocks away. A trick James suggested. They let themselves in with a key I didn't know they had. I was in my bedroom, recorder running, listening. The old man's getting suspicious, Marcus said. We need to move the timeline up. The guardianship hearing isn't for 3 more weeks, Vanessa replied. So, we create an incident. Something that proves he's a danger to himself. My friend Tom works at Providence Hospital. He can admit Dad overnight for observation. Claim he was found wandering, confused. That'll be enough for an emergency guardianship order. What about the tenant? Once we have control, first thing we do is evict him. Then we sell the house. And your father? Marcus laughed. It was a sound I'd never heard from him before. Cold. Empty. Sunrise Memory Care has a bed available. They're not picky about diagnoses, especially if you pay cash. Once he's in there, full of antipsychotics to calm his agitation, nobody's going to listen to anything he says. I felt sick. This was my son, my child, planning to drug me, institutionalize me, steal everything I had. What about the water heater thing? Vanessa asked. That was supposed to look like an accident. He's old, scalding in the shower, falls, hits his head. At his age, it would be tragic but not suspicious. You turned it up too high, Walter noticed. We have to be smarter. They talked for another 20 minutes. About how they'd met at a seminar about elder fraud. About how they'd specifically targeted me because I was widowed, isolated, with valuable property. About how Marcus had been pretending to rebuild our relationship for the past year, just to gain access. About how I was just an asset to be liquidated. I recorded every word. When they finally left, I sat in the dark for a long time. Then I called James. Get Detective Morrison on the phone. I have something she needs to hear. The police moved fast once they heard the recordings. Elder abuse. Fraud. Attempted guardianship. Fraud. Forgery. Conspiracy. The charges kept multiplying. The They arrested Marcus and Vanessa 3 days later. Instead, they found Detective Morrison and 2 other officers waiting. Marcus looked at me as they put the handcuffs on. Dad, what did you do? What I should have done weeks ago, I said. I protected myself. You don't understand. We were trying to help you. The house is too much for you. You're old. You need care. I needed a son. Instead, I got a thief. Vanessa started crying, claiming it was all a misunderstanding. That they loved me. That they were just concerned. The recording said otherwise. At the trial 4 months later, the full scope came out. Marcus had debts. Gambling debts. $200,000. Vanessa had a history of targeting elderly people, though nothing had ever been proven before. They'd planned this for 18 months, found each other through online forums about inheritance law, decided my house was their lottery ticket. Dr. Mitchell lost his license for filing a false medical report. The real estate company apologized. Walter testified about what he'd witnessed, and I sat in that courtroom and watched my son get sentenced to 8 years in prison. Vanessa got 10. Marcus looked at me as they led him away. Dad, he called out. Dad, I'm sorry. I'm your son. You can't just abandon me. But I'd already turned away. Walter helped me pack up Marcus's old bedroom the next week. Photos, trophies, all the pieces of a childhood that now felt like a lie. What will you do with it all? Walter asked. Donate it. Or burn it. I haven't decided. We worked in silence for a while. Then Walter said, Mr. Thompson, I need to tell you something. I'm moving out. My heart sank. Because of all this? Walter, I'm so sorry you got dragged into. No. He smiled. Because I'm getting married. To Linda. From my church. We're buying a small house in Gresham. But I wanted to thank you for treating me with dignity when your own family was trying to frame me. Not everyone would have stood up for their tenant against their own son. We shook hands. And I realized something. Walter Chen, the man my son called dangerous, had been the only person looking out for me all along. I live alone in my house now. I changed all the locks. I have a new attorney. And every Tuesday, Walter and Linda come over for dinner. We play cards. We tell stories. They're not family by blood, but they're the family I chose. And sometimes, that's what matters. I still think about Marcus sometimes. Late at night, when the house is quiet, I wonder if he thinks about me. If he regrets what he did, or if he only regrets getting caught. I wonder if I'll ever stop hoping that somewhere, somehow, he's sorry. Not for the consequences, but for the betrayal. For looking at his father and seeing nothing but a paycheck. But I don't wonder if I made the right choice. I know I did. Because he's dangerous, were the words my son used to describe an innocent man. Words meant to manipulate me, to isolate me, to make me question my own judgment. But the real danger was never the tenant in my basement. It was the monster wearing my son's face, standing in my kitchen, planning my destruction while pretending to love me. And I almost didn't see it. I almost let him win, but I didn't. I fought back. And I won. The house is still mine. My mind is still mine. My life is still mine. And that's something my son can never take away from me again.